baby may have gotten banana pepper juice in his eye. He's not a happy baby right now.
Probably not.
Think you're rubbing his
Hey, buddy.
right eye, maybe?
You know, give him a bath just in case. I mean, just that'd be the quickest way to make sure that it is all off. Okay, hang on. Nope.
Tucker, come here, Bubba, please.
All right, let's give me just a second, guys, and I'll get caught up on chat. I'm sorry, I get carried away with pasta making, and I kind of forget to check sometimes because it is a bit of a process. Let's see. Yeah, this sauce looks amazing. New Tucker's in on it. Tucker is greater than a scale. Have to take off. Thanks for sharing your time with us. Thank you so much for joining us, Krim. I appreciate you. For anybody, again, before he parts, last call, follow Creme Delish. One half of the Better Than Pasta, or More Than Pasta food truck. Along with Chef Steve 330. You guys see how we've made a dough ball here, right? So we're just going to kind of keep repeating that process. And it'll keep building and keep adding. I'm really wanting to break up the ball, right? Get all that center moisture exposed so that it gets exposed to the flour. See, now we got to start to be careful with how much water we add because that's the last of the semolina, so we don't want to end at the too wet stage, right? I mean, it'd be okay. We could just balance it out with some regular flour. It's not a big deal, but I would like to use just semolina. If you wanted to make fresh egg pasta, the ratios are 100 grams of pasta with 1 large egg. That's it. You make a well in the middle, crack the egg, beat the egg up in the middle, start to slowly incorporate the flour from the edges, just like we did with this, until you start getting a competent dough. And voila. You just knead the ever-loving crap out of it until it's smooth and round. Wrap it up, stick it in the fridge, let it chill for a little bit. Now you guys see how I'm putting the water in the middle of the dough ball and letting it work its way out to the exterior. That's so that we don't end up with a bunch of random water just roaming across the table, having to pick it up later when we don't have the flour to do it. "104 outside, 88 on the 3rd story." It's 104 degrees outside? Ugh. I don't know what 88 on the 3rd story means, though. All right, so now you can see we've just got a little bit of flour, and if I pour the water on there, it'll probably be too much. So what I'll do is create a very specific spot on my board for the water, and I'm just going to put just a little bit there. What I'll do is, as this starts to dry out, I can just take the ball, dap it on that little bit of water, and then work just the slightest bit of moisture into it. I think that works much better for me than trying to drip water into it or onto it once you get down to this stage. All right. You know what? We might have gotten just the right ratio on that last bit, because this is still got enough moisture, I think, to pick this up as we work it in. We'll see. So guys, all right, now that we've got all of this into one dough ball effectively, well, it's not a ball, but I can make it a ball. You're just gonna work the crap out of it. You could do this in a mixer and make it easier on yourself, but if you don't have those kind of fancy stand mixers, I do. I just want to show you by hand every time that I do this so that you can see that it can be done by hand every time. Because let's face it, Italian food is old world food, right? They didn't have fancy stand mixers way back in the day when these recipes came to popularity. Did you know the earliest recorded usage of lasagna in literature was way back in the 1200s? Apparently the first known recipe for lasagna is a 14th century cookbook. And it's kind of not what we have here today, because they were of way lesser means way back then, right? So mostly it was like, it was basically, they, you know, it was, the recipe kind of reads like they thought they were making dumplings, which is fair, because I guess that's kind of what pasta is. But they were making like, they thought they were making like really thin dumplings and then layering it with some fats and proteins and veg and stuff like that that they had at the time. 88 degrees upstairs, 77 on the main floor. Oh, I got you. Yeah, it's not been the coolest of summers for this last couple of weeks. Really, it wasn't bad leading up to it, but that heat wave that's going all across everywhere, kind of nuts. Now you guys see, I haven't reached over here to our water source, and again, it's because I think we actually got it just right. Shockingly, I don't think we're going to need any more water, but we're also not overwatered, so I think we ended up pretty lucky. We may have to dap it just a little bit, but if we do, it'll be very little. And again, all I'm trying to do is just work this with the heel of my palm, and I'm just kind of pushing. I'm pushing away from me like this and rotating the heel of my palm, because it's such a firm dough that's it requires a bit more grunt into it than the typical like bread dough, right? Like you've seen me knead like pizza dough or bread dough on here before, and it don't happen like this. It ain't ugly. It's a lot of work. Just put a lot of work into it. Kind of keep on going. The neat thing about semolina is it kind of feels like cornmeal at first, but as you start to work it, it starts to feel more and more and more like dough, and you'll recognize it when you start using it. Maybe a little dry. We'll just dap a little bit of water on there. And we fold it into the middle first. And kind of keep folding it. Yeah, we may even be a little bit dry. Okay. Take a time out for a second. Come over here, address the sauce. Stir it up. There's not going to be any texture left in those carrots, but that's okay. There's the sauce, by the way. Sauce can. Have to take a, oh yeah, that's right. We already went over that. That's right. We're already past that. All right, so I did pick up a fair bit of the water off the table because it's just a little dry. But that's what I mean, is like you get that water on there and then you can deal with the dough until you know that it's not going to come together, and then you can kind of just slowly work some water into it without having to overload anything. You can also use a sprayer. A sprayer is pretty good at that too. But you guys see how it's less shaggy. We're starting to be real smooth. Look where we came from. Okay, I'm a bit busy right now. I'll get to it in a minute.
What's up?
Oh, Mrs. Ellis just sent something. Okay, so now I'm gonna wrap this ball that ball in plastic wrap. All right. I am doing great today. Let's see. Hell yeah, that's great news, Mrs. Ellis. Awesome. Glad to hear it. Welcome in, by the way. Let's see. Am I doing okay? Yes, I'm doing pretty well. It's a lasagna making day. Now, I promised Puck Bunny lasagna would already be on the table by now, but obviously I lied. Sorry. I didn't take into account how long it takes to do this pasta part. Because really everything else is basically ready to go. You just sound like you're out of breath. Right? Well, I've been kneading this dough for what, the last 10 minutes, guys, at least. And it's a very firm dough because it's pasta. And it's not like making bread dough. You got to put some stank on it. Like, here's the thing about chefs. You kind of don't really want to mess around with them when it comes to, like, you just don't want to mess around with them. Like, they've got weird old man strength. Even if they're not that old. If they've been cooking for a long time, they got weird strength. It's because of all the forearm, hand usage, and muscles that you just develop over time. Like, look at these hands. Look at that. There's weird strength in those paws. So, like, even through all of the kneading and stuff that I've done throughout my career and all the muscles I developed, this is still a damn workout, is what I'm saying. Now the reason we plastic wrap this and put it in the fridge, guys, is
Ow.
just to give the flour in here a chance to relax, and we want to give that moisture a chance to fully set in. Give the flour a chance to really fully absorb it, because right now you notice that the more you work it, the more you'll end up